Perfect. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our global Nimble community. I really love these webinars because I believe that we're on this planet to grow our souls by helping other people grow theirs. And you do that by sharing, teaching, preaching, and serving others. And so what we do is we try to curate people that inspire us so we can share that with you so we can help you on your journey through life. And what I love about the people in the audience today is, Shep, they just keep coming back. They keep coming back to our webinars, and time is precious, and they're willing to spend their time with us. And I just want to say thank you for doing that. Today we have a super special guest. I love this guy. Shep is a teacher and a preacher like me, but better at scale. He is a New York Times and Wall Street Journal best-selling author. He wrote a book called The Amazement Revolution, Cult of Customer, Loyal Customer, Moments of Magic, and Amaze Every Customer Every Time. He also was inducted to the National Speakers Association Hall of Fame for his lifetime achievements, which I believe he also ran that organization for some time. Shep agreed to join us today to talk about the convenience revolution. And I think that if you could figure out where your customers are cutting themselves on their hands in the journey through your products and services that you deliver, that you can transform your business. And so, Shep, I just want to thank you for coming today to join us. Why don't you go to the next slide, because it's your sort of like, this is who you are thing.
There I am.
But I did cover all that. But Shep, I just want to thank you for taking the time out to join us today to help us learn about how to make our customer experience more convenient and the value of
Well,
that.
thank you very much. Appreciate that. And by the way, I really didn't run the National Speakers Association. I was elected president for 1 year, and I ran the board, I guess, if you want to say I ran anything. And really, you don't run the board. These are a bunch of excellent people that just support this organization. And thanks for mentioning the books. Writing books, I started doing that in the 1980s, and have 7 of them out, including this one that's coming out, plus a few co-authored books. But we're here to talk about the convenience revolution. And here's my goal, John, is that we're going to make people think and figure out how they can incorporate this level of customer experience into what they do in their business. Large or small, solo entrepreneur or major enterprise, doesn't make any difference. And even if you're an individual working inside of an organization, you could be more convenient to the people you work with, not just the people who do business with your company.
Before you go, Shep, I want to interject to the audience. Please ask questions. We're going to compile them in the background and answer as many of them that we can online, and those that we can't, we'll answer them after the fact. But please type in your questions during the presentation. Shep?
Awesome. All right, let's get right into it. So we have this agenda. How do you stand out while disrupting your competitors, if not the entire industry? How to be the most convenient company in the world? The 6 convenience strategies, which, by the way, is going to be the most important thing that we talk about. And we've got a few other ideas, and then we're getting into the Q&A. And John, I know you've got a few questions that we talked about that you want to make sure are answered. So if I don't get to them during the formal part of the presentation, we'll add them at the end. And John, jump in whenever you want. So let's get started. What is the convenience revolution? Aside from being a book that you can get at Amazon, which, by the way, the subtitle is How to Deliver a Customer Service Experience That Disrupts the Competition and Creates Fierce Loyalty. And who doesn't want that? And we talk about disruption. I just want to say that disruption is a big word, and people think of companies like Amazon and Uber, the big disruptors. You can disrupt your local competitor right down the street, and that means you're taking market share or business away from them, so the customers will do business with you. So the convenience revolution, in my eyes, it started way back in 500 some odd AD, when Justinian the Great, who ran the Byzantine Empire, created this thing called the Justinian Code. It's famous. You can look it up. Just Google it. There's a lot going on in the Justinian Code, but there was something that stood out, and there was an interpretation, and what I read made me realize that maybe this is the foundation of convenience. He declared that there would be a store to sell life's necessities to the citizens for their convenience, for the convenience of the citizens. And they use the word convenience in there. And I thought, well, that's cool. Now, way back then, it's, chariots going back and forth. And it wasn't a 7-Eleven. It was just some store, I guess, that somebody had, a merchant. And they were probably few and far between. But that is, to me, where maybe the first idea of convenience was born. Now we jump to the 1920s. A company called Southland was an ice company. They sold blocks of ice to go into an ice box, which is basically today's electric refrigerators. Back then, you just put a block of ice. When it melted, you replaced it. So they sold ice. And one of their employees started selling items on top of the ice, like eggs and milk, and all of a sudden people loved it, and they loved the convenience of not having to go to the big grocery store, but just stop by this smaller place, get the basics. And there was the true convenience store that was born, because Southland, if some of you know, is actually 7-Eleven, and today they went from 20 some odd stores back in the 1920s to 65,000 stores worldwide. And of course, there's many other brands of convenience stores. So that convenience revolution started then. So I want you to think about this. We mentioned it earlier. You're driving down the street. Boy, all I need is a carton of milk and a loaf of bread, maybe a couple of candy bars. I'll stop in the convenience store instead of going to the big grocery store. Why? It's more convenient. Smaller parking lot, easier to get in and out of. It's not as crowded. They don't have the selection. No way, not even close. Prices, they're even a little bit higher. But guess what? These people are in business and they're flourishing because they're more convenient. Think about the can of Coke that's in the mini bar in your hotel room. That can of Coke might cost $5 in the mini bar, but if you were to walk out of your room, 25 steps down the hall, there's a soda machine with that same can of Coke. It's $1.25. It's 25%. But guess what? Every morning, hotel employees are stocking or restocking the mini fridge in the rooms because people are buying the more expensive can of Coca-Cola and other things. Why? Because it's more convenient. So that's really what started making me think there's something to this. And by the way, not all companies charge a premium for convenience. There's some companies out there, and Amazon, as I keep mentioning, and we'll talk about them in just a moment again, but Amazon doesn't sell at a higher price. No, they sell, and that was one of their whole things. Let's have a website that sells books at lower prices. And the selection was great, and they delivered them. All the things that are convenient today, they sell everything. But guess what? If you go to an Amazon item, and you may see this item is sold at a lower price from another brand or another retailer, maybe using the Amazon marketplace, but they put that price and they put that other retailer's name in there, and you can buy it from them instead of Amazon. They're that confident that even though they're competitively priced, if not one of the lowest price, if there's somebody lower, you'll probably still buy from Amazon because you trust them. The service is great, on and on. So,
and because it's Prime, you can get it that day. And that's
sometimes you get it that day, if not 2-day shipping, but sometimes you get it in 2 hours, which is free. Amazing to me. Yeah, it's part of your Prime membership. By the way, I love it. They call it a membership program. Some people say, oh, that's the Prime loyalty program. Well, membership drives loyalty. Maybe loyalty drives membership. I'm not sure. But think about this. That Prime membership is now up to $119, almost $120. When it first started, I believe it was $20 or $25. And all it got you was 2-day shipping. And people said, do I buy enough from Amazon? But when you pay that little bit of money, and 120 is not a little bit, but the $25 back then was a little bit of, you start thinking, well, I need to get my money's worth out of Amazon. So they were loyal to the brand because they wanted to get their money's worth. But no matter how loyal they wanted to be, if Amazon didn't deliver the right level of service, and of course they deliver the product, but if they didn't deliver on the service and the promise and the quality, well, it didn't matter. That $25 would mean nothing. Well, today they charge $120, and they offer a whole lot more than just free delivery. You've got the downloads and many other benefits you get from Amazon. Jeff Bezos made it real clear. At one point, he said, I want people to renew and continue to subscribe to Prime. And the way I'm going to do that is by offering other services that are in far excess of the value. By the way, 85 million Prime memberships, approximately, over 80 million. John, how many people are in the United States?
350 million?
Yeah. So think about this. A huge percentage of the population of the United States is part of a Prime membership. And by the way, that's 80 probably families that have Prime. The majority of them are families. So, all right, well, let's continue on. We're going to go through the 6 convenience principles. I mentioned Amazon. Amazon participates in all 6 of these. One of the biggest principles they have is reducing friction, which means making it easier. And all 6 of the principles have some element of reducing friction. But think about how easy it is to do business with Amazon. You know, you go in, you find the item you want. If you're already in the system, one click, it's done. And now we're going to talk about technology in a few minutes. They have something called the dash button. John, have you ever used the dash button?
No.
Do you know what the dash button is?
No, I want to know.
Oh, this is the best. They have, I'm going to guess it's several hundred different brands of dash buttons. So you buy what looks like a doorbell. It's got a little piece of adhesive. At least I think it comes with adhesive. The one that I have, we stuck it to the side of the washing machine in our home. So, and when I say they have several hundred brands, like we use, you know, Tide detergent. If we used a different brand, there would be a different, you know, the dash button wouldn't be for Tide.
I have a dash, but I have the early version of it where you can tell it what to order and stuff, but it looks like they've evolved it.
Well, you don't tell it what to order. You just push the button. So if you're running low on you know, washing machine detergent, push the button. It gets delivered. If you have any other type of consumable, it could be your toothpaste. It could be, you know, razor blades. It could be. I can't believe that actually there's a Trojan dash button for condoms. If you're running low on condoms, okay. By the way, if you're out of condoms, pushing the dash button is not going to help you in the moment. But you push the button and it just pretty much, it's, as to use your word, automagic. It's like automatically gets delivered within a day or two, depending upon the item. But that's, I mean, how convenient it is. You don't even have to open up the computer anymore. And of course, you've got the Echo, and I can't mention her name because she's right behind me. If I do, we'll just call her Alex for short. But if I want to order something from Amazon, I just ask Alex to order it for me. Or I can tell Alex to turn on my TV. I can tell Alex to order me a pizza. And it'll ask me, is that the same pizza you ordered the last time? Yes, and it just happens. So Amazon's created an amazing level of convenience. And as we go through these 6 points, I want you to realize that while I don't use Amazon as an example, you'll know that Amazon does all 6 of these. So I love this quote, Uber your business before it gets Kodak'd. So reducing friction. I used Uber as the main case study. And of course, I have 5 case studies underneath each one of these in addition to the big Amazon case study. And think about what Uber does. For a taxi cab, if you wanted a cab where I live, you have to call the cab company. And then you'd wait for the cab to come. They'd tell you 15 minutes. Maybe it was 15. Maybe it was longer. Maybe you had to call the cab company back, goes, where's my cab? The guy shows up or the gal shows up and doesn't know where you're going until you get in the cab. And then when you get there, you don't even know what it's going to cost till you get out. Then you have to pay for it. Well, Uber reduced all of that friction. I want a driver to take me somewhere. I open up the app. I can see all the drivers around. I know how far they're going to be. I type in a few letters because it auto-populates. It's intuitive. It knows where I'm going to go. And now it tells me how much it's going to be. I agree to it. I can watch on the screen as the driver gets closer. I get in the car. The driver knows my name. I don't have to tell the driver where I'm going. And when I get there, I don't even have to pay for it at that moment. I pay for it through the system that I've already put my credit card information into, but I just walk away. And the only thing they haven't done is, like, you know, for those that ever saw Star Trek, they can't beam me to the next place. I still have to get in the car. So that's the only friction. So Uber is a perfect example of reducing friction. Companies like Clear, C-L-E-A-R. Clear is, if you go to the airport and you stand in the security line, you got the TSA security line. Well, if you pay a little bit more money and get approved, you can go to TSA Pre, which means you get to go to a shorter line. You don't have to take off your shoes. And guess what? That's more convenient. Well, Clear took it to another level because they noticed that the lines at TSA Pre were getting longer. So they said, hey, go with us, and you'll go, and they're not in every airport. They're in about 25 or 30 airports, major airports, and you just use your fingerprints and you show your boarding pass, and once you're approved, they walk you in front of the TSA pre-line. Now, what do they do? When I was in Orlando just last week, the line was probably 30 or 40 deep for TSA pre. It was probably 100 people, 200 people in the regular line, and there was nobody in the clear line. I'm paying a little bit more for this, and I walk in, and I'm all of a sudden I'm in front of everybody. What did they save me? 10 or 15 minutes? But you multiply that times 50 or 60 trips that I take every year. That's a lot of time I'm being saved. And what do I do at that time? Spend more time with my family, or I'm at the office being more productive. So very powerful.
And you can compound those, because if you're clear and TSA, not only do you get to the front of the line, because there's a line in TSA and there's a line in regular, but then you go through the TSA queue where you don't have to take off your shoes and put your notebook out, and it's like double whammy.
Yeah, it's great. And so I can't remember their exact tagline. It's actually in the book. If I'm opening up now, if I can find it real easily. But it's simple. The clear tagline is, here it comes. Get ready for it, or maybe not. Let's see. I've got it right here. Frictionless describes how we can help you travel through life. We think it fits. And that's what it is. It's frictionless. They want to create that frictionless experience. And that's the goal of anybody, reducing friction. And by the way, the best place to start your convenience revolution within your own company is to just draw the journey that your customer goes through, every interaction point they have with either a website or anything with your company, people. Is there part of the process where you can remove some of the friction? Do they ever have to input information twice? Well, why do they have to do that? Make it once. Once again, it's reducing friction. All right, let's jump into number two. Number two is self-service. Anything that offers convenience to our guests would only be good. That's Panera's CEO, Panera Bread and Bakery. If you've eaten one of their restaurants, this is a cool story. So it used to be, and it may still be in some of the older stores, but the ones that have been renovated, you walk into the restaurant, you used to just stand in line at the counter just like you would any other quick serve or quick casual restaurant, and you'd order, and then they call your name, you get your food, and you leave, or you get your food and you go sit down. One day I walked in, there was a big kiosk, a number of them, like big screens, and you'd walk over and there was somebody saying, hey, come over here, learn how to order without having to wait in line. We'll even give you a cup of coffee or soft drink as an incentive to try it out. And it's just pushing a bunch of spots on the screen. And boy, why would anybody want to wait in line if you can do this? Because literally it takes seconds. I go in there every Friday morning and I have breakfast with my buddies after we work out. And I always order the same thing every time. So I punch in my phone number because it recognizes me, or I could swipe my membership card if I have it. Once again, they gave me the choice. That's convenient. And then it says, do you want what you had last time? Sure. Or if I want something different, I just order something different. And then it used to be I would still stand and wait for my name to be called, but then they came out with this pager system. They give you a pager. You can sit around anywhere, go to your table and sit. And once it goes off, go up, get your food. But they made it even better than that. Eventually, they put sensors in the table. So you set your pager on the table, and then somebody brings the food to you. Never did they lose any employees over this. You would think, oh, convenience, making it digital and electronic. We don't have to have as many people standing at the counters and supporting customers. But no, what they did is they moved those people into running the food out to their customers, which, by the way, allows those employees to better engage with the customer, creating an even better and tighter experience. So all around, it was all about creating convenience through self-service. Self-service can be going to the grocery store, and you get those self-service lanes where you scan your own items. Don't you just hate it when you go to the grocery store and you say, hey, there's all the lines are long, and then you look for the line. It says, if you have 12 items or less, you can go through this line. It's like the speedy checkout line. And you look at somebody's bag that they're carrying or their basket, and they've got 40 items in there. That's not 12. Well, self-service allows you to check out yourself. But by the way, notice there's almost always a human being near the self-service checkout area to help people just in case they need it. So that's important in any self-service solution you have. Like if you go online and you're talking to a chat bot and dealing with a chat bot instead of a human being, if it gets to be a problem, you should be able to quickly default to the human. The best companies know that self-service needs to still be backed up by a human. So, John, any comments, any thoughts before I jump into number 3?
Well, I've actually struggled at the self-checkout thing because the lines were really long one day at the market, and I tried to go and do it, and I'd never done it, and actually needed the person to come up to me and help me. And Jerry Gitchell, I think you might know Jerry well. Jerry, first off, just says hi, Shep, and he says he's loving it. And he says the kiosk was so successful at the markets that they were forced to hire more people to facilitate the people using the kiosks.
And you know what? Doesn't that, you see, the idea behind self-service is giving a little control to the customer. They like that. It makes them feel in control, but you've got to be there to support them when you need them. And yes. I love that companies sometimes recognize that just because you put this new technology in to create a better experience doesn't mean you should eliminate people in the process. If anything, as Jerry says, to enhance the experience, they might have had an extra person or two to take care of the customer.
I do think, however, that enterprise software is designed to reduce human costs. And that's a fact. I was told that fact by an executive from Oracle during the depths of the 2008-9 depression. And it shocked me that he actually said that in front of the audience at that moment, because it is such a shocking time in all of our lives. And I do believe that people who are in the convenience business as a service people will soon find that there are less jobs. I'm not sure if you know it or not, but you can go to McDonald's now and sit down, and they'll basically, you can order your food digitally and they'll bring the food to you.
Right. And that's the point. And again, like what Ron Shea was saying over at Panera, is that they're running the food out to you, and that is an opportunity to engage, the same as somebody behind the counter might engage you. And there's no doubt artificial intelligence in call centers is starting to replace people at the lower level, but a lot of companies are saying, hey, let's just get all the simple questions like I want to change my phone number or my address or add a different credit card to my profile. They don't need to talk to a human being for those simple things. So they elevate those jobs to higher jobs. But no doubt, if you read all of the reports, at some point there will be jobs lost due to self-service, due to technology. But guess what? There's also jobs that are being opened up because people will be retrained to other jobs where, hey, who do you think's creating all that technology? Who do you think's servicing all that technology? So
I want to talk to that for a second, Shep. So I had an issue with my iPhone the other day, and I opened up the Apple support app in my iPhone, and I basically tried to find the FAQ stuff. I couldn't find it, and I just said I want to speak to somebody, and it essentially said, "Can we call you?" And somebody called me almost immediately. And they're not even in a call center. They live in their home, and they do calls. And real estate costs are so crazy expensive today. Imagine if you could go live in a college town. I'm just going to say Amherst. I know that's college town someplace. That might be University of Michigan, but there are wonderful towns, Salem, Oregon, or wherever, right? That you can, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, that you could live in, that you could buy a house for a fraction of whatever you live today, and have a lifestyle that's 1,000 times better. And I think that is a promise of the future that could be really amazing for people.
Yeah, and some people, it's called the gig economy. Now, that person might be full-time or they might be part-time, because today support centers many times they're independent and they're hiring people as they're needed. So they ramp up during busy times. Maybe it's seasonal, maybe it's around the holidays, and they bring them back down. And by hiring part-timers or subcontractors, they train them, they teach them what to do. They're paid for the work that they do. And hey, I was just talking to a friend of mine whose son and future daughter-in-law. I go, well, what do they do for a living, or what does he do for a living? And you know what? He's a gig economy. He wants to be a comedian, so occasionally he does a stand-up job and he gets paid. He also drives a cab, or actually an Uber, excuse me. He will occasionally pick up a job here and there, but it's all gigs. And that's what a lot of this is. You could be talking to somebody from their home. And it's an amazing opportunity. And that's where in some businesses and some industries, the world is going to make it. And by the way, by letting you work from home, if that's something you want to do, that's a convenience that your employer is giving you. Hence, we're still in the convenience economy. So let's jump to number 3, and we'll start to move through these a little bit quicker because now we understand what convenience is. So technology is great, and I use PayPal as a prime example of being able to transfer money so quickly from your account to someone else's. And they've been around for a while, but what a technological breakthrough. And of course, there's other companies that do this as well, but using an app on a phone is a great way to, make it easier on a customer. I use the No Wait app as an example. I love the No Wait app. It's not in every city, but No Wait is exactly what it sounds like. I want to go to a restaurant. They don't take reservations. You just get on the list, and you can open up the list on your phone. You can put your name, and you can see you're 45 minutes away from being to the top of the list. And you know what you do? You do whatever you want, and you time your arrival so there is no wait. What a great convenience. So companies that are embracing technology might find ways to be more convenient for their customers. Number 4, I love this one, the subscription model. I just wrote an article that just came out today in Forbes specifically about subscription. Netflix is the key role model I have. And think about what Netflix did to Blockbuster. They, basically out-serviced them and out-convenienced them. With Blockbuster, eventually you started to pay a monthly fee, which is a subscription, but you still had to go pick up the video and take it home and then bring it back. And if you were late, there was a huge fee. Well, Netflix said, let's get around that. You pay us a monthly fee, we send you DVDs in the mail. And we send you the mailers to send them back. And when you have a list, and as soon as you send back this movie, we'll send you another one on your list. Well, now they're streaming, so it's not even about how many. You can watch 10 movies a day if you wanted to watch it. But what a subscription model! By the way, I love something about Netflix. Several million people do not get the Wi-Fi that is needed to be able to stream and have a good experience. They will still mail their DVDs to these people. I mean, they've really done a great job of taking care of their customers. But just today, I wrote this article. The automobile industry, for example, do you know that you can subscribe to a car rather than own a car? I'm not talking about leasing a car, making payments. I'm talking about a true subscription. Pay X amount of dollars a month, and you can drive. For example, Porsche has their passport. Porsche, BMW, Volvo, GM has a Cadillac brand under the subscription system right now, and others are coming on board. You pay a monthly fee, and you can drive any number of different models that Porsche has to offer. I believe it's Porsche that offers up to 18 changes a year. So think about that. You're driving a 2-seater. You know what? I've got my, I got to go on a road trip. I want a bigger. I'm going to drive the SUV. And I call them up, and they bring it over, and they pick up my other car up and drop. Actually, not my car, their car up, and I just use their cars. It's a subscription model. You can create a subscription model for almost any type of business with enough creativity. Manufacturers might have annual maintenance contracts. That's a subscription model. The hardware store that sends the customer the filters for their HVAC unit every 6 months rather than selling them a bunch and hoping that the customer remembers on their own to change them. That's subscription. Dollar Shave Club. People, are you a member of a club? Oh, yeah, I'm a member of a great club. You play golf there? No, I get my razor blades from them. The Dollar Shave Club. So anyway, subscription models huge. By the way, what is Nimble?
Subscription.
Exactly. It's a subscription model. And, software as a service. And that's obvious. We've gone so far from newspapers and magazines, and now, we're creating models for subscription. And by the way, I know you were involved in Goldmine years ago. And back then, it wasn't a subscription model. I bought my Goldmine software, and 2-3 years later, after you came out with a couple different versions, I upgraded to the next version. But now it's a subscription model, and I'm always getting the latest and greatest from Nimble. All right, that's my little plug for you, John. I hope you can.
Thank you, Shep. I want to talk real briefly about
Let's go back to that.
Blockbuster and Netflix. I think there's niches that you could find in markets that you can continue to deliver a unique service, even though overall that service is dying. And I think DVDs are an example of that. A friend of mine, a neighbor of mine, rolled up all the DVD manufacturers in the United States and consolidated into one DVD manufacturer. And people still make DVDs at the moment that he did that. And he actually made a fortune doing that. Another example is Blockbuster. Even though I was a Netflix customer and I got my two DVDs, out at one time, I still used to love to walk down to the local Blockbuster with my family for the experience, because we'd walk down there and we'd pick out a movie and we'd browse the aisles and we got to know the person that was the manager. And that experience was like something that my kids will always remember, and they just don't have that anymore. And I'm not saying that experience is necessary today, but I still have a record shop, a vinyl shop in my neighborhood that I like to go and peruse. So there are niches that you can create that if you can deliver the right experience and service, you can compete with the online people, which is one of the questions that Jerry had, which was something along the lines of, how do local stores compete with the online digital people? And I think my answer was, you've got to out service and convenient them. You've got to basically be different enough that they want to come and shop at your local store.
Yeah. So, Blockbuster may have gone away, but I'll give you an example of everything old is new again. I'm starting to get catalogs in the mail, which by some companies never gave up sending catalogs, but I used to get, 10 catalogs a day. Now I'm getting, from really cool companies, I'm getting an occasional catalog, and it blows me away. I'm a musician not for fun, although I've been lucky enough to play with some great people. I get my Guitar Center catalog, and when I get it, it's great. They send me emails all the time. I hardly ever open those up. But when I get that catalog, it sits on my desk or at my home for 4 or 5 days before I decide not to look at it anymore, because I looked through it several times. So, people will go back to certain things. And you're right, vinyl is big again, and it's coming on strong. I don't know if we'll get to a point where people are going to open up video stores again. No. But, it's no doubt
But I do go to my local REI store quite often, and I think there's some things that you have to physically try on, right?
Yep.
Like there's a local bathing suit shop for women in my neighborhood, and they charge a pretty penny for those bathing suits, but they've been there forever, and I think they're going to be there forever because of the experience that you can get by going and trying these things on.
Yep. So imagine this. So let's talk. I don't believe that online is going to completely replace brick and mortar, but I want you to think about that bathing suit. Maybe bathing suit's not a good example. Probably underwear is not a good example either. But how about the rent of, I don't know what it's called, but the women who are buying or not buying, they're renting fancy formal gowns as opposed to buying them, which is essentially, it's not a subscription model per se, but it is you're not paying for it. So the idea behind subscription and a book that just came out that I just ordered, it's not here yet, but it's basically saying people are going to stop owning things when they can subscribe and change. There are clothiers out there that you can subscribe and they send you new clothes every month or every quarter or whatever. And some of them say, hey, we're going to send you outfits, and then you send them back. And that's a subscription model because you're not keeping them, you're just using them. Anyway, we can go on and on about that one. Let's jump over to number 5. Here's an easy one, delivery. There's always room for those who can be relied upon to deliver the goods when they say they will. If you deliver, whether it be a pizza, whether it be, I love one of the cookies, Insomnia cookies or Hot Box cookies, which are close by here, but I use Insomnia in the book. It's the same thing as Domino's, but it's for cookies. I want to order the cookies. I open up my app. I order them online. I can see that, they're being baked. They come out. They're on their way. And, 30, 45 minutes later, I have hot cookies. Unbelievable. My car dealership, small little dealership, they're getting bigger. They're building a brand new, huge facility because they've been so successful. But I was doing business for 22 or more years with this one particular dealership, probably bought a half a dozen cars from them. And one day I'm out driving and I see a car in the showroom floor in the window as I'm driving by. I go, oh, I want to see that car. I walk in. It's probably about in traffic, it would probably be a 45-minute drive to get to this dealership from my home. And I say to the guy very candidly, I'm not going to buy the car. I'm just going to look at it because I'm not going to buy the car from you. I have a dealer that's less than a mile from my office. Drop off my car if I have service, and if they don't have a car for me, I'll walk to the office. And he says, wait a minute, why wouldn't you buy the car from me? Look around. Do you see a showroom? Nope, don't see a showroom. That's because we have one. It's small. If you buy a car from me, I will drop the car off, and every time you need service, I will send a new car. One of our demonstrators will pick up your car. We'll bring your car back when it's finished, even if it's just for an oil change. You buy a car from me, the next time you come back here will be to buy another car. When you're kidding me. And by the way, the price was competitive, and he out-serviced, he out-convenienced the competition. He disrupted the dealer that I'd been doing business with for 22 years, and now I'm getting ready to go buy my third car from this new dealership. So delivery is powerful. What can you take your customers?
I have a delivery story on a car. So I wanted to buy this new car, and the local dealer, and it was sort of a car that was kind of hard to get. It was on allocation. The local dealer wanted to charge me $10,000 over sticker. And
really fancy car.
It's a nice car. So $10,000 over sticker. And plus they just treated me bad. And the interesting thing is my cousin was the biz ops person there. So I called the dealer in Pasadena. And Pasadena's not that close to Santa Monica where I live. But not only did they give me a slight discount on the car, just a token discount, but it was a car that I ordered from Germany. It was custom made, and they essentially they didn't make me come down to the dealership and fill out any paperwork. They essentially were able to transact the whole thing verbally and digitally, and they delivered the car to me on a flatbed and to my house. That is delivery.
That's delivery. But it's also, look at the other friction points they took out. You didn't have to go in even for the sales process. All the paperwork was done online.
That's the worst part of buying a car is the finance person and all the time it takes for them to wring you over the coals of trying to extract another nickel out of you.
Well, regardless of that, I have a lot of clients that are in the automobile manufacturing and retail business, so I'm going to be careful with that one. But, remember there was ads for Volkswagen, sign and drive, go in, and 15 minutes later, you're out the door with your car. The companies are figuring this out. New company called Carvana. They're in about, I found out, I thought they were only in about 11 markets. They're in many more markets now, even in just the last 6 months. But they're a used car. They're like CarMax. So CarMax has 150 locations, which, by the way, let's go ahead and jump to the next one, which is number 6, the final of the 6 principles, and it's access. CarMax at 150 locations of used car lots here in the U.S. is accessible in almost every major city, and they're easy, very good system. They are basically the Walmart of the used car industry. So Carvana comes along and says, okay, how can we disrupt the CarMax? I mean, we're going to go and compete head to head. So they will deliver on a flatbed a car. If you're not near one of their locations, by the way, everything's done online. You buy the car online. They have incredible guarantees. And so you're very confident that you're getting the car you want. And one of the things that they use as a marketing, I call it a gimmick, is they have basically a gigantic 5-story vending machine with 4 cars on each story, and they spin around and the car comes out just like a vending machine. They give you a large token to put into a big coin slot. It's pretty cool. But that's just in a few of the markets, but you don't have to be in any of those markets because they will actually send you a voucher for a one-way airline ticket so you can come and pick up the car. And they'll give you a nice warranty. If you don't like the car within a week or 2 weeks, you can bring it back, no questions asked. And then, of course, the regular warranty they have. That's, a convenience factor that's huge. But access is about location. It's about logistics. It's about hours of operation. I have Anytime Fitness on here. I love working out here. This is my favorite gym, the cleanest, friendliest, and most convenient gym around town. Why? Because at 3 a.m, you can go to Anytime Fitness. You don't have to be there during traditional hours. Huntington Bank is my lead case study. They know what banker's hours are. Banker's hours are not convenient to the average person who works during the day. So what did Huntington do? They extended the hours beyond traditional banking hours, and they're even open on the weekends so that regular people can go do their regular banking without having to take time off work. That's convenient. So it's time, it's logistics. Walmart, 90% of Americans are within 10 minutes of a Walmart. That's access. So whether it's location, whether it's hours of operation, your website's open 24/7, that's access. This is a convenience principle really worth taking a look at. And I think it's fairly easy depending upon the type of business you're at. Having that website available, it's always open. It's 24/7. People can learn about you. So access. There you go. Any comments, John, about these 6 principles?
This is amazing food for thought. I think that entrepreneurs, business owners, and even individuals don't think enough about convenience. And if you can create a frictionless experience for your customers, you could build a gold mine. And
Yep.
I'll share an example of friction. So I wanted to buy a barbecue, and there was everybody told me to buy the Viking because it was like the really nice one. So I went and checked it out. I lifted up the hood and I cut my finger on the metal inside of the upper lip of the hood.
Ooh.
Now, I should have been using the handle the whole time, but customers don't always do what you expect them to do. And I basically,
for what they're supposed to do.
Exactly. I lifted up with my right hand, and I used my left hand to sort of push the hood up. And whoever manufactured the hood didn't sand the edge of the metal that they had cut, and then they folded over. And that's just an example of the experience that you need to sort of fix. But convenience sort of like wins all. And I think that these topics that you shared, I think are really thought-provoking. I love them. I think we're kind of short on time to do some of the questions, but I want to let's go into the next slide, and let's just try to get one of these done, because I want to do a little bit of free-form Q&A with you. Go to the next one. So there's a thought-provoking quote on your website that I saw. It says, your customers no longer compare you to your competitor. They compare you to the best service they've ever had from anyone. So how have Apple and Netflix set the bar incredibly high for all the brands now?
Well, here's the thing. The best service they've received from anyone, it could be Amazon, Apple, Netflix, it could be anybody. It could be the guy down the street that sold you a $25 pair of shoes. Your customers don't compare you to competitors anymore. They compare you to the best service they ever had. We are educating them. The companies that are good at doing what they do educate customers, and those expectations carry over to any type of business. So I tell my clients all the time, you got to step up. The bar is raised, and it's not your competitor raising the bar. It's the best companies delivering the best service that raise the bar.
And I don't know if anybody listening to this remembers time before the internet, but I remember when people didn't have websites at businesses, and they said, well, we're a brick and mortar company, we don't need a website, or they locked their team members out of browsers because they thought they're going to waste time. And so I think that what Amazon has done for books and now everything else is really making everybody sort of rethink the way that they work. Let's go to the next one. Yep. Should leaders and entrepreneurs be thinking about applying all the principles in your book to their business? If not, how should they decide which ones are best suited to them and their situation?
Sure. So it's not necessarily that they should apply all of them, but they can definitely apply at least one, if not 2 or 3. There's no doubt that any of these or one of these will apply to virtually any business. I suggest, as I mentioned this before, you take a look at the journey that your typical customer has, every interaction point that they have, whether it be with a person or any aspect of your business. You take a look, is there friction there? When somebody calls for customer support, do they have to wait on hold for a long time? When they're filling out loan documents, how many times do they have to fill out the same information? The type of thing you talked about with the finance department of a car. So I would say the quick and short answer to this is yes. And if you buy the book, The Convenience Revolution, at the end of each of these 6 principles are 3 thought-provokers, questions to get your conversation started with your team members and your leadership to decide how you can incorporate some of these ideas.
Sounds like a valuable book. I think we're going to have an offer at the end. Let's go to the next question.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, what can small businesses do to be just as convenient as big businesses, especially when it comes to technology?
Yep. Well, easy question, because small business, I think, can actually have an easier time of implementing anything new than a large business. Technology doesn't cost nearly as much as it used to. For example, and while I don't necessarily think chatbots are for every business, you can now go to a company and have a chatbot, a basic bot that will answer the basic questions that your customers ask before being transferred over to a human being, literally for a very inexpensive setup fee, maybe $1,000, $2,000, and then there's a small monthly fee. Any company can afford to do technology. Hey, how about Nimble? How reasonable? Here I am giving you a plug again. How reasonable is that? If you're a small business, or even a big business, but as a small business, you have a very cost-effective solution for CRM. So,
I want to say something about that for a second. So, forget CRM. I think the blue ocean opportunity is relationship management, and CRMs are for salespeople to manage prospects and customers. I believe that every business should have a single system of relationship record in their business. Today, they have Gmail, G Suite, sales, marketing, customer service, accounting applications with separate contacts in every single one. Nimble unifies all of them into a singular contact record for the team, so everybody's on one page. So you call the company up, they know who you are, they know what your business is about, they know who you've spoken to at the company, and they could schedule or log the thing that needs to be done, and everybody's on one page like American Express. Next slide.
Next slide. Prioritizing customer convenience. And the question is?
How do you suggest business leaders decide how to prioritize implementing concepts from the book?
Right. So once again, take a look at that interaction point that the customer has and decide, is this a place that I can simply reduce friction in the process? Is there something I can actually do? Is there an app out there that can make this more convenient? The best thing is, hey, I'm not just saying buy the book, but buy the book. Or, you know what, if you don't want to buy the book, just watch this webinar again and take a look at those 6 principles and say, okay, which one jumps out at me? By the way, delivery may not be an option for you. Access from the standpoint of logistics and, a brick and mortar store. You may be located in Santa Monica and I'm here in St. Louis, and it may not be convenient for me to drive to your place to do business. So that one's a different type of access, but maybe because you're on the web, I have 24/7. Do you want to make, it was very frustrating to me one time. I needed customer support, and it was for an item that I had to put together from a sporting goods store for my daughter, and their support hours are the same hours as regular business hours. Well, moms and dads around the world are setting these things up for their kids, not during business hours. Those weren't convenient. So again, access. Where can you look for those? And I would say just go through those 6 points and which one jumps out first, and then look at every interaction and see where you can where you can find a place to be more convenient. So I love this one. I'll answer this question. How do I join the convenience revolution? Well, there you go. You can go straight to Amazon, or you can go to beconvenient.com. And by the way, if you're listening to this right now, I will tell you, if you go to Amazon, the book comes out October 2nd, and you can order it, and it's got a discount. If you order it from my website, beconvenient.com, I'll be very transparent. The book's a little bit higher price because we don't get the same discounts as Amazon. I mean, I wrote the book. I didn't publish the book. Sound Wisdom, by the way, great publisher. They published the book. But what we do is we'll place the order probably through Amazon, and we will have it shipped to you. We will pay the tax for you, and we will immediately send you, if you buy it today, the ebook. So you'll have the ebook to read, and you'll have it a week and a half, 2 weeks before everybody else has their book. So go to Amazon. And by the way, you can see how to connect with me a number of different ways through Twitter. I've got videos on LinkedIn, chef.tv. Tried to make that an easy one to remember. And hiken.com is my website. But so here's a cool thing. Sign up for Nimble for a chance to win. Well, go ahead. I'll let you do that one.
Well, I want to put some books in people's hands. So we're going to be giving away signed copies. So for those of you who haven't signed up for Nimble yet, please do, and let our team know, and to be a chance to win the drawing. And we also have an offer as well, I think on the next slide.
Yeah, and by the way, when you sign up, that doesn't mean you have to pay for it. You just have to sign up for a trial.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's go to that next slide. There it is.
And for those of you that find Nimble valuable to you, we're going to give you 40% off for the next 3 months if you sign up for a trial today. If you're already, and you just use the code John40 before the end of your 14-day trial, put that in and you'll save 40% off our already affordable price of $25 per month on a monthly basis, or $19 on an annual basis. And I think, that's less than a decent lunch these days. And I think that your network and your brand are your net worth, and that you should be investing in them on a daily basis. If you already are a subscriber, thank you. You are helping us on a journey to power millions of people around the world to reach their dreams. We're going to give you 100 free Prospector credits. And if you haven't tried Prospector yet, just Google Nimble Prospector. You'll see some videos on it. We automatically will enrich people and company records anywhere you are, including giving you their phone number, their email, their address, etc. And with that, I think we've come to the close. Jerry Gitchell says thank you. Jerry, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today, especially you, Shep. You really delivered it. I think that shining a light on convenience really makes us all think about the journey of not only our customers, but everybody in our lives, right? Because it really takes a garden. It takes a village, to quote somebody that people like to make fun of. It takes a village, honestly, to do what you need to do in your life. And I think you should all think about the people that surround you, your constituency, like a sustainable garden. You want to plant things in the garden that attract the right people. And then when they come into your garden, you want to nurture those relationships in a pay it forward way so that you can reach your dreams by helping others reach theirs. Isn't that what Zig Ziglar taught us all? Shep?
Yeah, if you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want.
Love, love, love that quote. Shep, thank you. Audience, thank you. Make it an amazing Thursday. And please connect with us and let us know how we might be able to serve you and help you grow. Shep, you got any parting thoughts?
I just think, hey, listen to everything John said. Brilliant, brilliant guy. I love Nimble, and if you decide you want to jump into the convenience revolution, would be honored to have you as an honorary member. All you have to do is buy the book, and you're almost there. Then do something with it.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.